video for me, y'all. We are live today, representing for all of Radio 1, 97.9 The Box. You know, it's Young Jazz here. You can catch me on 97.9 The Box Monday through Friday, 7 through 11 p.m. But we are streaming this through Magic 102, also Praise Houston. And today is another very special celebration because this week is Black Entrepreneurs Week. So yesterday we did a live stream. I hope you guys caught that, Facebook and YouTube. We're going to be live today. So make sure you share the link with your friends so everybody can tap in, because today is Giving Tuesday. So if you've never heard of Giving Tuesday before, we're going to put you on game today, because Giving Tuesday was created back in 2012, and it was a simple idea to be a day that encourages people to do good. And now Giving Tuesday is an independent nonprofit and a whole global movement that inspires hundreds of millions of people to give and collaborate and celebrate generosity today, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So today, for Giving Tuesday, we're going to be live. I have some very special guests coming with me, and our topic, as you can see right there, is uplifting Black philanthropy. So I have some special guests that are going to go through and help us out, some experts that are going to let you guys know how you can learn how investors are using philanthropy and the broader capital market to support Black entrepreneurs. So without further ado, now he's one of my guests, but he's basically a co-host at this point. I got to introduce my boy, Philip Yates. Welcome, Philip, to the chat. Here we go.
What's going on? I like that, Jazz co-host. I see big things for us on the horizon. All right.
We're eye to eye, two Black entrepreneurs here. How you doing today, Philip?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing amazing. So for those who missed yesterday, go ahead and just reintroduce yourself real quick. Just, your title, what you do, where you work, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so Philip Yates, I'm an attorney by trade. I have a corporate practice, but I'm also the founder of Equal Liberty, which is one of the spearheading organizations for Black Entrepreneurs Week. Happy to be here in partnership with Chase Bank, Houston Area Urban League, Impact Hub, She Said Foundation, a host of others, including Radio 1. Like you said yesterday, you're one of our day ones, and I just noticed you don't have a shirt, so we need to get you a shirt, all right? So next time we do this, we'll be matching, all right? But I'm happy to be here, happy to have this conversation, especially on Giving Tuesday, what we can do to uplift Black philanthropy.
I love that. We're going to talk all about Giving Tuesday, you guys. We're live again. Make sure you share the link, YouTube, Facebook, share it to your friends right now. Now, my special, shout out to Pierre one time. He said, what's good in the chat? Look, we got y'all. Come on in. Look, come on into the virtual party today. It's Giving Tuesday. We're giving a lot of game. So my next special guest that I have, introducing Miss Latasha Norwood to the chat. We need some sound effects, y'all. There we go.
I love that.
How are you?
I'm incredible, and I'm excited to be a part of today's show. So thank you for the invitation.
Glad to hear that. We're happy to have you too. Go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody out there who's watching.
Thank you. I'm Latasha Norwood, and I am the founder and CEO of the She Said Foundation. We are all centered around helping women-owned businesses start, grow, and scale sustainable businesses. So we're in year 7 and counting. What started out as a mistake became a movement to really helping women do what we need to do to build the economic future for our country, for our city, and to create legacy for our family. So I'm excited to join the conversation today.
Come on, opening statement. Okay, thank you, Miss Latasha. Look, y'all are ready here. Y'all are ready. I'm just ready. You know what I'm saying? We got more special guests, you guys, coming. Next, I'd like to introduce, and I just saw him on the golf course a couple weeks ago. He mean with it. Introducing Mr. Eric Goody. How's it going? There we go. There he is. How's it going?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I was at the golf course. I just wasn't playing the golf. We were one of the beneficiaries of the tournament, and really appreciate the support. Great to be here with you today.
Yes, give them a little introduction of yourself too before we get going.
Yeah, thank you. Really, I was trying to pull up my intro music, a little Jay-Z, but couldn't get it fast enough. But I'm the senior vice president here with the Houston Area Urban League, and have been had the privilege of standing up the Entrepreneurship Center over 15 years ago as part of the National Urban League network of ECs across the country. We provide small business technical assistance, consultation, access to capital, procurement, and have worked with many of the Black entrepreneurs that are scaling today. So it's really a great opportunity for us to participate in this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for participating. And we may have another special guest tapping in, but for now, we're going to keep the ball rolling. I'm just going to go into the first question for all the panelists that we have on here today. So first question is just, can you explain the work that you do at your company and how it is impacting the Black entrepreneurship community? Whoever would like to take it first.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I started by talking about the work that we do through She Said. It actually started out just as me wanting to serve and give back, because there were so many women who felt like they deserved to have the opportunity to understand how to go after large contracts and opportunities. And so, again, I mentioned it started as an accident. I was just looking to host a dinner for a few women, and it turns out that we ended up serving about 120 women. And now we've touched thousands of women. And so, what we're doing is trying to create an ecosystem that enables women to gain access to resources. And those resources happens to be capital. We know that women are starting businesses at a greater rate than any other group, and then women of color are starting at a faster rate. And so we know that they need money in order to do that. And so it's great that we're having this time to talk about philanthropy, because when we're spending our money on Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that stuff, this Giving Tuesday is a great opportunity to support organizations like ours in the Urban League who are giving those dollars back to support women entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
You know, Jazz, as Natasha said, you know, Black businesses are being started at an accelerated rate. In some cases, out of necessity. During the pandemic, when people had to pivot, you know, many people were laid off from their jobs, but they had to decide, you know, how I can continue to sustain for myself and my families. And so, you know, a lot of them migrated to becoming entrepreneurs and starting their own businesses. So again, out of necessity, and then having organizations like the Urban League, having foundations like She Said, She Led, and other subject matter experts, having Philip Yates and Equal Liberty, and many of our peers, Impact Hub, ION, the Greater Houston Black Chamber, and others that lean into communities of color, that provide the technical assistance, that help to create pathways towards opportunity. And then working with our corporate sponsors and other municipalities, the City of Houston, Harris County, Port Houston, Houston Airport System, and others, to make sure that people first understand and are aware of these opportunities, have the capability and the capacity through certification to participate in the procurements, have a solid business foundation through business planning, business plans, financials, legal liability. So addressing all of the core competencies of business operation, and then helping to introduce them to individuals that are decision makers that can help pull the trigger on some of those procurements is part of what we do on a daily basis.
You guys are doing it over there.
I love it. I love it. And, you know, and I'll keep it brief because they're my inspiration behind Equal Liberty. Obviously, I mentioned it yesterday. I've worked with Eric Goody for those 15 years when we're talking about the EC. So I've seen those countless or thousands of entrepreneurs go through the program and receive those certifications and scale to capacity. And even day one with Latasha, when she created that dream, it was at the Urban League, and then she blew it up, and now it's worldwide. And I do mean worldwide. And so to see what can be done if people have access to Latasha in the She Said community, what can be done if people have access to an Eric Goody or the Urban League community. We wanted to use technology to accelerate growth. And so Equal Liberty, Black Entrepreneurs Week, Latino Entrepreneurs Week, those are collision courses. We want to help convene the ecosystem so it's not hard for a younger Philip Yates out in A-League, Texas to be able to reach Latasha faster, or reach the Urban League's doorstep faster, so that we can together start building more equity and economic and wealth creation.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys are giving us a lot of game today. Everybody out there watching, we're doing it for Radio 1, 97.9 The Box, Magic 102. Praise Houston. Make sure you share the link with your friends. Got all my panelists here. We're going to go into the next question because sometimes we forget that philanthropy is a business. So can you guys share with our listeners how your organizations are leveraging investors or sponsors to support your organizations and the work that you do in the community as well?
You know, I'd like to start with that one because, you know, the Urban League has been really fortunate as of recent to receive a really large gift from the Mackenzie Scott Foundation. So 25 affiliates across the country received about $102 million. Here in Houston, we were one of the beneficiaries. And so when you look at that, the business model of the foundation and how they identify and vet organizations that they want to support and contribute to, I think that's a model that small businesses, Black and brown founders and their foundations can look at to determine how they can give and support organizations to build capacity that ultimately have a ripple effect in the community. And then, of course, you know, philanthropy provides other opportunities for small business to evolve and to create different arteries where they're not just offering a product or service, but they're also able to influence and give back to the community through their resources.
That's what it's all about. Yep. Anybody want to take that question as well?
I'm happy to jump in. 100% of the work that we do through She Said is funded through supporters and sponsors. And 100% of the money that goes into our organization and our foundation goes right back out to support women CEOs. So I'll be very honest and say it's a grind, especially for a young foundation who's looking to do something out of the box. Actually, let me not say out of the box. I don't like out of the box. I've thrown the whole box away. We are innovators. We're disruptive. We're audacious. We're unstoppable. We
Yes.
just don't do things the way that other people do it. And I think that fresh approach and the authenticity that we bring to the market is what makes the yes, yes. But it does not go without work, and it does not go without proving the work that you say that you're going to do. And so we've been very fortunate over the years that when we do have those sponsors and contributors that come, they are already writing us in their budget because they see the impact of the work that we're doing, and they want to come back. They want to grow those investments. And they also are our greatest cheerleaders that help us to identify other partners who have the same vision and purpose that we have, and that is to support women CEOs.
I love it. Obviously, these two are the subject matter expert, but anybody who's listening, when you see activations like the ones that She Foundation has in Urban League, and you say free, just know it's not really free. I mean, there's somebody who's writing a check, for lack of better words, for the services and resources that our community are taking advantage of. And so when you look at Black Entrepreneurs Week, I know all throughout the week, and as we were promoting, people are saying, "Hey, how much does it cost?" Well, how much does it cost? And it was like, it's free to the community, but it really isn't. I mean, because Latasha's time means money. When she helps us out with unlock her power, or she's helping out and donating her time to this panel, that means money for us. The Houston Area Urban League, which is one of our anchor partners, Eric Goody, all the time and resources that they provide, those are resources. Radio One, Young Jazz, give it up for Young Jazz being here 2 days in a row. I mean, these are resources. So I think it's important that we talk about Uplift Black Philanthropy. Just know everybody can play a role in the ecosystem. So you have your corporate donors who you're trying to court, and they can help write checks. But you also have entrepreneurs like ourselves that can donate time. So last but not least, I'll say I'm an attorney full time, and that's how I pay my bills. That's how I keep food on my table. And so there are ways that you can leverage when you reach a point where you have a certain in wealth, and then you can invest it. Sometimes you can create your own vehicle to solve the problem that means something to you, and it can be a write-off. And so I know that's a conversation for your tax and your CPA advisor, but just know that that's what we're doing in my household. We're leveraging some of the income I get from my profession to actually build up this philanthropic space, and it's also benefiting my personal balance sheet.
Jazz, I just want to really highlight a couple of things. Latasha used, several words, but innovation, elevation, enhancements, doing things differently, is part of what we as a community really have to embrace. The Urban League is over 100 years old. So our objective is, how do we remain relevant? How do we make sure that the conversations we're having, the lexicons that we're using, how we are leaning into the current demographic, our current client base, how do we make sure that we're, speaking to them in a way that resonates? And so we're always having to, as an organization ourselves, having to make sure that we are relevant, we're current, and that we're acknowledging, subject matter experts like Latasha and Philip and other young people that are coming behind those that laid the foundation, but these individuals are really taking it to the next level. And then in some cases, utilizing technology to amplify the processes and to create a feedback loop for the sponsors. Ultimately, our sponsors are looking for, pathway, consumer pipelines, individuals that will ultimately become customers for their products and or services. So they're looking for organizations and individuals like us that can help tap into that demographic, create those relationships, create the consumer loop that ultimately provides the value proposition on the dollars that they invest in organizations like the Urban League and others.
That's right. Thank you so much, Eric. And again, guys, we're getting a lot of game this Giving Tuesday. We're speaking about uplifting Black Philanthropy today, live, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. So next question. Look, no shade, Philip, but you can also answer this one. But this one is for Eric and Latasha. I just
No.
want you guys to talk a little bit about the fundraising side of your role at your organization. Like, what do you believe is the key to successful fundraising?
So I'll start. I Philip alluded to this, and I think I would be remiss if I did not say that I don't work for She Said, right? They're not my employer. It actually is the philanthropic side of the portfolio of businesses that I have. And so I actually have a full-time job and a whole company with employees that I run. So balancing, managing the duality of multiple businesses and a foundation, if we're being honest, we said we were having an honest conversation, right? It's
Let
tough.
us. Yeah.
And it is a 365 job, right? It is constantly, after one event happens, it's not like you get a chance to put it on the shelf and you sit it aside until next time. You're constantly having to you know refresh and to look at what the market demands and to understand where those funding partners are, and then understanding their cycle of giving, because oftentimes we go after dollars that have already been allocated for the next year. Those budget decisions happen really early. So I think if we're having an honest conversation about fundraising, it starts with developing a great pitch deck, if you will, or an explanation or an overview or program guide of what you do as a foundation or as an organization, understanding the demographic audience that you serve, the impact that you're going to make, and helping them to see how it is a value for both, right? Because there are so many organizations that they can invest in and they can support, but why you? And so we're constantly having to refresh and refine that story and to continue to be innovative, and even to ask ourselves the hard question of, why should someone want to invest in what we're doing? How can we make sure that it's a value not only for us, but it also is a value for them?
Absolutely. Latasha used the word grind earlier, and it's really a constant. And I think that, Latasha described it so eloquently, because what she touched on is the intuitive nature that fund developers and fundraisers have to have. This is not something that just happens in a vacuum. You have to really, be intuitive to the market, be intuitive to the trends in the market, focus in on the pillars that organizations and foundations that they're prioritizing, how your service delivery or your mission connects to those pillars, and then be able to articulate the return on the investment that their funds will have through your organization. But it is really a sophisticated approach. It's not something that just happens organically. There's a lot of research. There's a constant awareness of what's going on in the market. The role that you play. Again, as a historic organization, there's lots of newcomers. And today technology has really increased the ability for startups, to get traction very, very quickly. There's a lot more opportunity in the space than it has ever existed. And so for mature organizations, for startup organizations, it's really about understanding the market, identifying and playing to the strengths that you have, identifying the return on the investment to that, again, corporate sponsor or foundation, and then the ability to articulate how you are the best investment for them.
Got to be articulate. I love that. Philip, you want to add anything? I feel like we have to include you. You are my co-host here. Anything? I know you got something.
You kicked me to the curb. You kicked me to the curb. So I'm not saying anything on that question. It wasn't designated for me. No.
Jess, I do have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
I think that the other part of getting these investments is also the ability to report and to do an impact report. And I think that that's something that's missed in this conversation often. There's a lot of asking for things, but you also have to have the ability to show them, like Eric said, the ROI and the impact that their dollars made in the work that you were able to do, and that thank you, because you're going to go back and potentially ask them again. So when you are putting together these great opportunities for corporations like Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and others to support you, You also want to make sure that you make their job easy, because they have to go back and say, the money that we invested, look at the impact that we were able to make. So don't negate that part. That's a really important piece in this philanthropic effort.
Impact report. You guys don't forget that. Write it down. Remember that. Pin that. That's a good comment.
Yeah, Jazz, they don't call it data mining for nothing.
Mm.
Data is the new gold. You
Mm.
have to be able to substantiate, again, what you have done, and be able to present that not only orally but in writing to that sponsor. So critically important. That was a great point, Latasha.
Excellent. That makes sense. Now, Philip, look, I got one for you. I'm kicking it straight to you, okay? This is for you to tell us, how is Equilibrity planning to use philanthropy in the tech space? Because I know, Eric, he was talking about the tech space,
Yep.
how it's changed so many things, but it's also, brought a lot of different opportunities as well. So how do you guys plan to use that?
No, I mean, I think what Eric and Latasha said is everything we're going to do in the tech space. So we are a fintech platform. And so we believe that using technology will be able actually to accelerate philanthropic efforts through our partnership. So we did create an impact vehicle through Uplift Entrepreneur Foundation so that people can give and be able to give that and give some kind of benefit. But the way we look at it is when we use our technology, we're going to build a digital ecosystem so that all those relationships are convened and then people can access people in real time. And so when you talk about data, we're going to have data automation. We're going to have machine learning, artificial intelligence that's going to actually be able to fast track this entire experience. And so when we look at the ecosystem, we look at all the players in it. So our end user are people like you and I, individuals at home, our families, our communities. But we also look at the government. We look at the nonprofits. We look at the private business community and everybody else that plays a role in making sure that we have financially healthy communities. And we're going to leverage that platform to make sure that everybody who wants to actually see that community be healthy, they're going to have an avenue to give in real time. And then they'll not only see the benefit through their philanthropy, but then they'll get that data that Latasha and Eric are talking about to see that now there's true growth from an economic and wealth perspective inside that community. So we're really excited, and we're really excited to partner up with Radio One, the Houston Area Urban League, She Said, and a host of others that have partnered up with Black Entrepreneurs Week. But we're just getting started, and so you'll learn more about us throughout the week. We hope that you come and talk to us and get signed up, and we hope build this community together.
Definitely, because you guys have more events coming up this weekend as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Tomorrow we have Unlock Her Power. We'll be honoring special women inside the ecosystem, such as Latasha Norwood and a host of others. So I'm excited to have that participation with her, and really just focusing in on those who allocate capital, those who build community, and those who have special fundraising efforts to do the work we're talking about today. On Thursday, we have Invest in the Culture, which is more for our men. So I'm hoping Eric shows up. I know a few of his other colleagues will be there, and grab a cigar, maybe grab a spirit or two. And it's time for us to network, and we talk about how we can leverage technology, how we can leverage real estate, capital, and other business opportunities together to grow generational wealth in our community. Friday, we have a wealth building forum, that's probably my favorite one. We're going to bring in people from accessing capital. We're going to bring in wealth advisors. We're also going to bring in private bankers and bring them all in the room for 5 hours. And we're going to give you the blueprint to build wealth. A lot of times in this generation, I'll say really it's the younger generation than us, we have access to technology such as TikTok. And that may be yours, Young Jazz, because you have Young Jazz. So I don't know your age, but I think it's everybody where we access TikTok and Instagram and other technologies at our disposal, but we listen to people that maybe don't have the subject matter expertise or the experience, but they're getting paid off of your attention span. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that, because I think you can learn something from everybody. But what we want to do is look inside your local market. You have the resources there, and so won't you look at that financial advisor, that insurance agent, that banker, or somebody else that can really truly help you meet those goals. And so it's going to be a time to do that. And then we're going to finally kick it off at Houston Area Urban League, our home base, Freedman's Fest, Small Business Exchange, something we've been doing for many, many, many years together. And so with that, there's capital. So there's capital the day before. You can win $10,000 in the pitch competition. At the Houston Area Urban League, you can win $10,000. We also have vendors. One of Eric's former colleagues started a Nutcracker soul Nutcracker market. And Jazz, it's basically, this is a time for us to go Christmas shopping. And so if you want to decorate your house with Black ornaments, and again, I don't have nothing wrong with white, the white or Caucasian or other colors, but hey, this is Black Entrepreneurs Week, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
I want to support our holiday soul Nutcracker Market. They'll be there selling their items. You'll be able to listen to other featured speakers. I know there's going to be a live fireside chat with Eric Goody and one of our special guests. We have our pitch competition. We also have Exotic Pop. They're one of our sponsors for that evening. Cavasier's having the holiday spirits. And so it's a really good way to end the week with family, community. We're talking about capital, culture, and really building up the community. So I'm excited about it. If you want to register, you can go to, I'll give you the easy one is tinyurl.com/2022BW. I just learned how to use this tiny URL, guys. But it's a thing now. It's a thing for me. And then blackentrepreneursweek.com.
Awesome. And we're going to put all that in the comments and stuff after we get off the video in case you guys might have missed that and stuff, because I'm going to be there Saturday, but I'm going to need that information again. So make sure y'all can go to the tiny URL, and then we'll also give that information. And also want to rewind because we have some questions in the comments for anybody who might have missed it. And it's for whoever wants to take this question. What is a philanthropist in your words, and how can an everyday person become a philanthropist?
I think I'll jump in there quickly. I think we're all philanthropists because that's really where the spirit of Equal Liberty came from. As I talked about how we're going to use fintech in order to invest in communities. I mean, we are intentionally going to make it so that everybody in their local community can invest into that community so that the next up and coming entrepreneur will get small grants in the form of a loan or redeemable shares, and they'll be able to start their business. Or we can go in there and revitalize a home or a business so that we have co-op space. And so that's not just for the corporation. That's not just for the nonprofit. That's not just for the wealthiest in person. All of us can be philanthropists. I'm sorry. And there's a way to give and support your community and make sure that you increase the wealth of your community.
See, that's a great explanation. Very simple, straightforward. And look, guys, there's the link right there. tinyurl.com/2022BEW. And you can also go to blackentrepreneursweek.com. Does anybody else want to chime in on that question before we roll on to the next one?
I think that everybody, again, that has an opportunity to give back. It doesn't always have to be in the form of hard dollars. It can be in the form of intellectual property and knowledge, and just making sure that our community is aware of the opportunities and then helping them to build capacity to get to where the opportunities are.
Thanks. Miss Natasha, look like you wanted to chime in. I don't know.
No, I did. I think that we all, just as both Philip and Eric have shared, that we all have the opportunity. Sometimes we hear these big numbers of, 1 million and 50,000, and it just seems like it's just not realistic for everyone in our community, which includes our family, to be a part of that effort. But it could be a spirit of giving through the acts of service or volunteering or sharing your knowledge or skills, or even saying, hey, a couple of years ago, a relative of mine decided to start a business. So I said, everybody in the family, let's give a certain amount of money. And we helped her launch her t-shirt line. So it's those types of things that we can collectively come together and have that philanthropic effort. It doesn't have to be this substantial amount of money. It can be through acts of service and then also nominal gifts as well.
I love that. We're all philanthropists. Everybody out there watching, hopefully, if you're not, look, there's many different ways that you can be, which brings me to one of our final questions. What advice would you three give to donors today on how they should give on this Giving Tuesday specifically?
I want to jump in. I think that, we give our money, we give our time to a lot of different efforts and organizations. I would say look within your community and what you find passion in doing, and find organizations who are doing that work. We give some time through our churches. We give to, students and kiddos that might be involved in sports or, other activities through buying Girl Scout cookies and all those things. That's an act of service and giving. The one thing that I would encourage, again, and I'm not a tax professional, and that is there are ways that you can later track all the gifts that you have given and ask your tax accountant or your professional tax preparer to say, hey, here's the X number of dollars that I've given. Are there ways that I might be able to get a tax benefit or a credit through the support that we've given? So even if you are doing something very nominal and you're not doing it for the reason of getting something back, it's you deciding to support an organization or a cause that you love, but there also is an opportunity for you in that gift as well.
Yeah, I would just echo what Latasha has stated, but also, you know, invest in yourself. Sometimes the philanthropy has to start at home. Make sure that you are changing your mindset to more of a business acumen and invest in yourself. If there's something that you want to do, if there's a business that you have in mind, do it. But make sure that you are being very thoughtful and methodical in establishing that business platform and the foundation as you invest in yourself, because an investment in yourself is going to yield a return where you can begin to invest in others, in addition to all of the opportunities that Latasha referenced.
Man, you see, young Jazz, some people you just don't like to talk behind, and these two are those individuals. So I'll say this again. I echo their sentiments. The only thing I will add is start local. A lot of times we follow trends on social media, and that's okay because that's how we get the news in today's current times. But there's an opportunity for you to solve those problems in your own backyard, in your own county, in your own city. And so, if you're upset about something, some kind of civil unrest or some kind of economic injustice, then find a local nonprofit, a charity, and we put two before you today that you can support with your own money. So start with your own personal value system, start local, start at home, and then build your way out.
Thank you so much. Look, we got a question from the audience too, you guys. Crystal Fordham, I believe she said she was in Atlanta earlier, but this comment says, "What do you suggest to those who don't know what they don't know?" I
Go
don't.
to the subject matter experts. There's resources abound in any market. There are technical assistance providers that will provide that initial consultation to you at no cost, such as the Urban League Entrepreneurship Centers. We've had many of our small businesses come in thinking that their business model was XYZ, and midway pivoted, totally changed the business model and been successful and been able to scale. So just take advantage, as Philip said, start local, take advantage of all of the resources that are immediately available to you. The biggest investment that you'll make is the investment of your time.
I want to say I love that question, number one, because not always are we willing to be honest and transparent to say, like, I'm a Martin fan. And so there's an episode where he says, start from scratch. And he's like, where is scratch? Right. And so we find ourselves sometimes hearing these great, like fancy things. They sound so cool. And you're like, yeah, but where do I start? And what if I don't know what I don't know? And I agree with Eric's his comment. I would also add, asking questions, be curious. And, instead of spending time, on social media, get online and start just researching topics of interest for you and just be curious and be that sponge. The last thing that I'll say, I try as much as possible to be a sponge. And I want to describe what I mean by that. A sponge is one of the most amazing things. It looks weird and it just sits on top of stuff and it absorbs all of this stuff. And it's only when pressure is applied that it releases everything that it's absorbed, right? And so if we start soaking in all the knowledge and information that we get through reading, through asking questions, through connecting, through networking, when that time comes and when that pressure comes or that opportunity arises, you can squeeze all that knowledge out and apply it and use it when it's right for you. So be a sponge, learn as much as you can.
Jazz, I should have answered the question first. That
Oh,
way they could have went behind me, right? Right. But you try to throw the alley oop there, but I messed up. I missed the lob. But I will add this, right? And we said this yesterday. Everybody should get a mentor, right? Everybody's not, propped or positioned to go hire an attorney, hire a CPA, or some of the other luxuries in life. Once you reach that, once that position, once you know what you do know, or you know what you do need, and so I really encourage you to find a mentor in each of those spaces. So stop what you're doing. Don't be afraid to say, "Hey, I don't know what I don't know, but I need to change what I've been doing." Because a lot of times we'll continue on our journey in acknowledging the fact things aren't right for me back here. Haven't been doing it right. Things haven't changed, but I still have these goals. But you haven't changed anything. You haven't even sought out the proper resource and help. And so, Black Entrepreneurs Week was designed to really to prop up these thought-provoking questions, but more importantly, to build community inside our local community of experts, so that you can now reach Latasha. You now can reach Eric Good. You now can reach Young Jazz. And so take advantage of that find a mentor, and then once you decide that you know what your plan is and you know where you're going forward, then invest the money properly so that you can reach your philanthropic goals, your business goals, and your wealth building goals alike.
Mm.
That was great, Philip. See, no, you the best addition.
I'm out of here. Hey, peace, y'all. Hey, all I need is one time to tell me I did a good job. All right.
That was the mic drop there, y'all. No, but if anybody else has anything they want to add before we go, definitely feel free. Anybody? Also, if we have any more comments, those can pop up right now. If not,
Yeah.
I want to celebrate
I just have
Philip.
one last comment. You know, last evening we had Mayor Turner here at the Urban League. One thing he said was, "Don't let fear paralyze you from accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. If you have something in mind and it keeps reoccurring, then it's something that you should be doing." Latasha kind of referred to it earlier. Don't be intimidated about going into spaces and places that might be uncomfortable for you, because it's only when you have that pressure that all of the resources, everything that you've taken in, is going to be released. No struggle, no strength. You've got to be fearless. You've got to be, what do you say? Audacious.
Disruptive, unstoppable.
All of that.
mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Young Jazz, I want to celebrate and congratulate Philip on the brilliance of Black Entrepreneurship Week. He didn't decide to go out and do one event. He said, we're just going to do a whole week. We're going to just give everybody everything that we know that they rightfully deserve. So congratulations to you, Philip, and to your team and to all of your supporters, and for Radio One and all of the sponsors who are making this incredible week happen. We celebrate you, and we are so grateful for your innovation and your willingness to not complain and say it doesn't exist, but to create it and to share it with all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.
Now, I don't know if you're going to follow that one up, Philip. This is your last chance. That was a really good ending, though. I don't know.
My mama taught me better than that. Just be humble sometimes and just fade off.
No, but I would just like to say thank you to all three of you for coming in, giving us all this knowledge and information. Like you said, some people, you don't know where to start, but I feel like everything that you guys said today is somebody can get some type of information from this. So thank you to everybody who tuned in live. Again, we just wanted to highlight Giving Tuesday, uplifting Black philanthropy. Make sure you guys tap into the rest of Black Entrepreneurs Week. Also, everyone, just make sure that you share the link on Facebook, YouTube, all of that. Philip, Latasha, Eric, thank y'all again so much for doing this with us, and the whole Radio One cluster for making it happen. Happy Entrepreneurs Week, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.